Okay, I'm just coming up on it again. I saw this while I was walking the dog, so I went home and got my camera. I just come back to it. I just found this on the beach. This is animal mutilation, straight up. Clean wound. The seal's head's been completely sheared off, completely taken off, and around it there are no footprints, no drag marks or anything. Try and get in as close as possible. It's not a macro lens, but hopefully we can see what the kind of cuts we have around here. These are not bites. This seal's head wasn't taken off by a shark in one bite like that. These are cuts, clean cuts. Like the edges of some of these cuts are clean, so clean. And it's just been, it's clean. It almost looks fake in a way, but like, it's a real seal. Oh, wow, unbelievable. And that's it. Again, no prints, no drag marks, nothing like that. And we are way up on the beach here. I don't think the tide even comes up that high. And it's just sitting in the sand. Face down, or face up. Face up, okay. I don't see any other bite marks. There's a sort of an abrasion on the flipper here. Again, look at that, it's just clean cut right across. And there's what looks like a couple of blood marks or drops or something. I don't know if that's another animal that came along or what. Otherwise, I don't see a heck of a lot. No other animals seem to have touched it. I'm just coming around to the rear end to see if anything. I don't see any coring or anything like that. Looks engorged, but otherwise it's just been laid here. And around the other side. Again, no other marks around. No other animals have come along and touched it. Otherwise, from this cursory view anyway, I'm not a veterinarian, but there's a couple of scrapes right here as well. And on the other side. Other blood or anything, and it's just like, look at the clean line, clean cut on that, or whatever. And by the way, I might add that I'm on the south arm of the Fraser River, which is the mouth that leads from the ocean up to Harrison Lake, Pitt River, or Pitt Lake. All of these areas up in the interior where there's been some other mysterious activities going on. This is right off that river, right, that section of the waterway, south arm of the Fraser River. This is just like it's like the meat has been cooked in a way. It doesn't smell, well, there's an aroma here and there's wasps going around it, but it just looks like it's been dried. I don't come here every day, but yeah, and a little bit of blood trickling down here and underneath it, but it just looks like the meat's been cured. And again, a couple of marks, looks like blood marks in the abdomen area. I don't see any kind of punctures or anything like that. Try not to get too close to it, but okay. Looks pristine. I mean, it couldn't have been hit by a propeller. Chopped its head off, and then what? Carried it up from the, and deposited it here, clean like that. The head has been just taken. I'm gonna pause it for now. Okay, I'm continuing on here. One thing I've seen and saying there's no definite prints is two evenly spaced prints, no similar deep indentations leading to them, as if like two side by side rather deep indentations that look like footprints, but the sand has been pushed up. I mean, my footprints as I've walked around it are like that. They're not even, that's my footprint. And then these really deep side-by-side indentations with the sand having been pushed up. And no other similar indentations anywhere near. Perhaps there, but then to there, and then no other indentations similar anywhere near. That is interesting. We have a similar, you see, it's almost in these footprints, it's almost a pushing off. It's a pushing off. Like, I don't know what that footprint indentation is. It's not, I don't want to make any speculations, but that's not a boot, and those two indentations that appear, they're just disappearing with the sand, so when the wind blows they're going to be gone, but there's that, and then there's almost one more in front of it, and my boot print right next to it, but that one right there. There's the two right near the carcass. There's one right there. It's not three, but yeah. Anyway, and then beyond that, don't know. Those are some weird sand imprints right next to a very weird weird, man. Okay, I'm gonna pause it again here. Okay, continuing on with the weird footprint things that are disappearing here as the sand is being blown, and then that other one that I identified there. So I'll go back here. Over here we've got another one. Like, look at the size of that claw mark with the sand being kicked up like that. Now there's nothing else, so there's no dog prints around this. There's nothing no dog prints, nothing. I want to go in close on this again, but I don't know what kind of footprint that is. That's wide. That is wide. And here's my foot in comparison to that. I don't know what that is. It seems like it's kind of by itself, but the sand is being blown now. But then below that, towards the water, there's this as well. But again, I like the size of that, whatever it is. Scratch, push, something. It almost looks like it's to the side in a way. It's like at an angle. The sand goes pushed back. But again, look at the width of that, the size of that compared to my foot. And there's no dog prints around this. It's not a dog scratching in the sand. And it almost seemed fresh because these prints are being blown away as I'm speaking, so it's evidence being destroyed by natural causes. Look at the size of that. And again, beyond that, there's nothing from there. There's a couple of dog prints there and a couple of scratches from dogs, but there's nothing similar as far as the digs, these deep digs in the sand. Like this, and beside that, and then up here, and then the ones right beside, side by side, get my shadow out of there, right over the carcass. Right next to it, and there's no other footprints, not even mine you can see going around this. Like, certainly not as deep. I went around this way, and do you see my footprints sinking into the sand that deep? Dry sand. Where's Linda Moulton Howe when you need her? Where's Richard D. Hall? Come on. Gosh. Look at that. Clean wounds. There's no blood around those. Some sort of a veterinary specialist who's not jaded in this world. This is not done by animal predation. That line along there is no animal. And this would take at least a couple of people to put this body down. And there would be a lot of sand disturbed getting this animal in here. These two footprints right next to it, side by side. Again, I just walked around here and look at my footprints don't even sink in the sand like that. Look how deep these are. These are push-offs or something. I don't know what. And again, no other, there's nothing leading to it. There's no footprints leading to those two that are right side by side next to it. Or the ones that are along the way here. Again, look at this particular pattern in the sand. It's a real light disturbing of the sand, and I don't know how you describe that, but it's right next to this big push-off like print. What made this? And again, the sand is disturbed again, like in a very similar way, pushed back as if something pushed off and in the direction of the water. So say there's two here and here, say there's another two with this disturbing of the sand in a weird way next to it, and then a little break in the sand, and then say two more, and then nothing anywhere around it. So we've got bipedal, animal mutilation. Try to get down low on this one too and see. I don't want to disturb this. As far as I'm concerned, this is a crime scene. Little marks of blood right there, just a little couple of marks side by side. And then there's the marks of blood right there. But yeah, two, nothing, then looks like two or so, 1, 2, 3 maybe pushed off, and then a break in the sand, and then more push-offs or something. Again, look at the width of this. Oh boy, what kind of a dog does that? Huh? You can see the sections where the sand has been disturbed, it's drier. And the other parts haven't even been touched. I don't see anything else around here. No other animals. Nothing I can see leading towards the water. I mean, if I pushed off that hard to disturb the sand like that, I'd probably hit the water in one bound. But nothing else disturbing the sand around this. Pausing it again. Okay, a short time has gone by since I've arrived, and you can see already people and dogs have walked past, and the two side-by-side prints have pretty much eroded away. So I'm almost thinking I came upon these footprints that are, there's no other prints around for those ones. Anyway, we've gone over that, but here there was a dog that ran by, and here's where a dog pushed off compared to the other push off. So we can compare that and the width of that. It almost is like a point where the dog pushed off with its paws like that. The other ones were as wide as my hand with a different pattern. I don't know if you can still see them, but these ones have all been dug away now. Completely dug down by the dog. Almost as if it dug right in the area where the prints were. Evidence destroyed. Just in that area the dog was digging. These two somewhat remain. The dog stepped in one of these ones. You can see the dog print as it pushed off. Here's another dog print right next to it as it pushed off. It was running in the other direction. And there's a print from the dog as it pushed off. That's a dog print. Those other ones that I have and these two are not caused by dogs, and dogs don't stop short with their paws side by side like that, with no other dog prints leading to it. But there's a dog print right there in the middle of these other two prints. You can see the comparison. Of course, they've eroded away quite a bit now. Anyway, the skin is pulled back a bit from where it was originally cut, but this cut is just clean. And even if a fisherman took a fillet knife to it, you'd have to cut through the bone with a fillet knife. It takes some work. I don't think it would be that clean, but it's definitely not animal predation. And no other animals have come by. There were no seagulls nearby it. Other than running past, the dog, or the dogs that have gone by haven't even sniffed at it. Anyway, there it is. I have no other means to investigate the scene here. I'll probably come back tonight to see how high the high tide is. But here's the wood, which appears to be dry. So I guess it dries pretty quickly once the tide goes down. And now the tide is at its lowest point. And it's 12 feet higher at its high point, so we'll see if that comes all the way up to here. There it is. Okay, back at her again. There haven't been any animals even curious about this carcass. There are a few flies flying around. But the animal control is on their way, and they're going to probably just take it away. So I'm going to try and see if I can get some more documentation of this, closer inspection as well. But Anyway, I'm gonna open the flipper here and see if there's anything underneath. Yes, there is. A very curious hole. That is very interesting. Very interesting, that there. Don't know what that is. Hole under its arm. No other signs of injury there. And the one on the outside there, the circle in its fur or skin. But there's a hole right there. I don't know what that is. And some sort of a, I don't know, it's white inside. I don't know what that is. I don't have any sample collection jars or anything like that with me. Again, there's some blood on the blood drops on its belly area, and some blood in an interesting pattern around the neck area. Gonna continue around here. Its hind end. It looks like it's been buried in the sand, and it's, oops. I don't know if that is a, that is a hole. That is a hole. That looks like a surgical. The edges have been cauterized. It's I'm not a marine biologist, and I don't know if it's normally supposed to be a big hole like that. But again, I don't have the tools to be able to determine whether that's an actual coring or what. But that looks like a pretty big hole in the end. And around the other side. Oh, also, I don't know if I mentioned it, but there's a couple of bumps here with a depression just above the little bumps, two dark and raised areas. Sort of a triangular pattern, and there's an indentation here. I don't know what these are, these bumps. It feels pretty spongy, hard. Around to the other side. Nothing obvious on the side of it. Along here, like it being caught in a net or anything like that. There's a couple of abrasions here, but those don't look like net marks. I'm going to open up this arm as well and see what we can see underneath. Anything? No. A little abrasion there, but there's no hole similar to the hole on the other side. And it's not, I mean, it's fresh. Oh, there's now some blood, some fresh blood coming out here. You can see it's coming out right now. Fresh blood. There's a couple of flies in it. And there's a dead fly right there, and I don't know what that is. It's a dead fly. Anyway, there's blood that's pooling out now from this carcass. It's soft, it's fresh meat. You'd think if it were in the water for any length of time, it would be less fresh. It's not like it's cold water and preserves it or anything like that, but this fresh blood still coming out of it. And it looks dried. Congealed blood down here, but there's some fresh stuff that's pooled out. Anyway, I'm gonna give her a push and flip her over and see what we can find. Here we go. Look at all this fresh blood coming out of it. Seeping out. Now there's a clean incision that goes all the way around it. This is fresh meat. Fresh meat. And those don't look like cut marks. It's funny because we've got this clean slice that goes all the way around it in one clean circle. Like somebody just sliced it around. And then here it's just kind of gnarled and ripped. Doesn't look cut through. I don't see any knife marks or cut marks, and in fact just real clean along some of these areas. Blood's just pooling out now again, seeping into the sand. And there's the area where I found it, quite depressed into the sand there, a couple of inches. But yeah, this is fresh. Look how fresh that is. It's soft. It's still soft. This is soft in here too. Look at that. That right there. Okay, I'm back, and it's high tide at 8 p.m. And here it is, rolling around in the surf, rolling around. Hasn't washed out. It's just rolling back and forth. I can smell it from here, so it's starting to rot, but since I left several hours ago, it's still in pristine condition. Nothing has touched it. Nothing has done anything to this animal. Now it's starting to look a bit more bloated, I would think, than earlier, but can't really tell. There it is from the side. Yeah, that looks much different than this morning. Like if this had been in the water, if it had washed up at high tide this high, last night at high tide, or this morning, it was in much better condition. So it had only been in the water for a very short period of time. The meat was pink. Nothing's touched it. Here's somebody in the distance saying there's eagles around. Surely one of them would want to feast on this. He had nothing all day. I'll be back in the morning to see how it's doing. Okay, I come back the next morning at high tide, and it hasn't washed away yet. And guess what? No animals have touched it. Nothing has touched it. Nothing has touched it. I'm still right next to it, and I can't really smell it. It's not decomposing. I think I'm right next to it. There's that raised area. Now I can smell it. I'm right next to it. I can smell it. It's quite pungent right up close. And there's those markings on the side. You can see that white circle right in the center of the screen. And then there's another one. One here, and a depression right there. Flies are buzzing, but other than that, nothing. That's how an animal's supposed to look. It's been in the water. So this has been in the water all night long. After high tide at 8 o'clock last night, it's now 8 a.m. That's what an animal looks like in the water, not fresh blood, fresh cuts. Yeah, it was almost as if yesterday I'd stumbled upon a fresh crime scene with the blood freshly dripping out of the wound here. Now it's like it's been in the water, but it's still not bloated. We'll see what it's like as far as rigor mortis or something. Let me find a stick here. Okay. See how still quite spongy, quite soft. And near that depression, it's really soft, but it's still quite spongy. Very soft. It's still really soft. Let's see where that hole is. Can't really open it up again. There's no hole or damage to this side of it, but you can see where that other. Open up the flipper here. I got a tree in the way. Anyway, skin fur's coming off now. I can't open that up, but there was a strange hole underneath that arm. Anyway, like I said, it's still quite soft. I see this area right here is getting harder though. hard right there. So, anyway, either way, look how soft that is. There you have it, still here, completely untouched. It's been just under 24 hours since I first found it at about noon yesterday with the tide out. Now it's high tide. And this is floated up further on the beach, but nothing's touched it in almost 24 hours. I'm back here again at high tide, and let me show you the beach. This is the beach the seal was found on, right up this area here. I don't see it right off the bat, but I'll take a closer look. I just came across these dog prints, and I wanted to document them just to show what a dog disturbing the sand looks like. So you've got straight dog prints coming right up to here. There's a divot with a dog print right there. That looks like a pretty sizable dog. And here are some push-offs, one in front of the other, diagonal. And notice this particular pattern of the sand being kicked up with a dog, and the pointy kind of triangular pattern that creates versus the other tracks that I found in the sand that were side by side. All three sets of them were side by side. And this with the dog, you can see it's in a line. There's some running right up to this area, and then there's a lot of disturbance that goes in a line like this with the sand kicking straight back versus two side by side with the sand kicking straight back. This is a dog running, and you can see the sand being disturbed quite a bit in this front one. The one farthest away actually there. It's quite disturbed. But again, here's what it looks like, the dog kicking up sand. Alright. Okay, again, here's a disturbance from a dog's paw. The sand kicking up. You can see the paw mark in there. A little bit of sand disturbed, but there's none, it's not side by side. The dogs run one in front of the other. So there's a kicking of the sand with the dog. And there's the kicking of the sand with the dog. Quite a bit of disturbance versus the two side by side kicking motion with the dog's paws. A long line. The dog doesn't just push off. There's a lot of sand that's picked up with tracks leading to it and away from it. This is where the seal was yesterday, under this log. Now the seal's gone. I don't see it anywhere along the beach here. It was up towards that curved log right in the center of the frame, where that square piece of wood is.